Hello everyone. Welcome back to this channel. Today, we are talking about a moment that looks simple at first. A game. A few guesses. A few gestures. A few seconds of eye contact. And yet somehow, fans couldn't stop watching. Because when ZHANG LINGHE and TIAN XIWEI found themselves playing a guessing game together, something about the way they understood each other caught people's attention. The question was simple. Why did they seem to understand each other so quickly? And more importantly, was there really something special about the way ZHANG LINGHE responded to TIAN XIWEI? Before we go any further, let's make one thing clear. What happened on screen was part of a variety show and promotional activities connected to their work together. There is no confirmed statement that they are romantically involved. But that doesn't mean the moment wasn't interesting. Because sometimes, it isn't the biggest gesture that makes fans stop scrolling. Sometimes, it's the smallest reaction. The smallest pause. The briefest look. And that is exactly where this story begins. Imagine the scene. The cameras are rolling. The atmosphere is playful. Everyone is there to have fun. There is no dramatic soundtrack. No carefully written romantic confession. Just a game where one person has to communicate a word or a concept through gestures, while the other person tries to guess what it means. It sounds easy. Until you are standing in front of thousands of viewers, with a camera watching every movement. And then ZHANG LINGHE and TIAN XIWEI begin playing. At first, it looks like an ordinary entertainment segment. But then, the rhythm changes. They begin responding to each other's movements. One gesture appears. Then another. A reaction follows almost immediately. And suddenly, viewers are watching more closely. Because there is something strangely familiar about the way they interact. Not necessarily romantic. Not necessarily something hidden. Just comfortable. Natural. And perhaps that was enough. Fans started asking the question. How can two people understand each other's signals so quickly? Was it because they had already worked together? Was it because they had spent so much time promoting the same project? Or was there simply a chemistry that viewers naturally noticed? And this is where the guessing game became much more interesting than the game itself. Because fans weren't only trying to guess the answer. They were watching ZHANG. They were watching TIAN. They were watching the tiny reactions between them. Every pause. Every smile. Every unexpected movement. Every moment when one seemed to anticipate what the other was trying to communicate. And then came the moment that made the conversation even louder. A close interaction during the game. A gesture. A reaction. And the kind of playful physical contact that immediately sent the fandom into discussion mode. People began replaying the scene. Again. And again. And again. Was it intentional? Was it simply part of the game? Or did the two actors naturally fall into a rhythm because they already knew each other's personalities? There was no official romantic confession. There was no confirmed statement saying, yes, this means something more. But online, fans don't always need a confession to become curious. Sometimes, one moment is enough. And ZHANG LINGHE and TIAN XIWEI have already given fans plenty of moments to examine. Their appearances together have repeatedly created discussion because their interactions often feel effortless. During promotional activities for their project, they participated in games involving gestures, guessing, and recreating scenes. And that is important. Because when two actors have worked closely together, they naturally develop a certain level of familiarity. They know how the other person reacts. They know how the other person moves. They know what kind of joke will make the other laugh. And that familiarity can look incredibly convincing on camera. Especially when the audience already loves the pairing. That is where fandom psychology enters the story. Once viewers become invested in two stars as a pair, every little moment becomes a puzzle. A glance becomes a clue. A smile becomes a clue. A matching reaction becomes a clue. And suddenly, a simple guessing game becomes something fans want to decode. But perhaps the most fascinating part isn't whether ZHANG LINGHE chose TIAN XIWEI. Perhaps the real story is why fans wanted to believe that he did. Because audiences don't simply watch chemistry. They feel it. They compare moments. They remember scenes from dramas. They connect interviews with variety shows. And when an actor and actress who already have strong on-screen chemistry interact naturally in real life, the boundary between character chemistry and real-life curiosity becomes very thin. That doesn't mean the rumors are true. It means the audience has become emotionally invested. And that emotional investment is powerful. One of the moments that attracted attention involved the pair playing a physical guessing game. Instead of simply speaking, they had to communicate through movement. And somehow, that made every reaction feel more visible. When words disappear, body language becomes the story. A small movement suddenly matters. Applause becomes noticeable. A smile becomes louder than dialogue. And viewers started wondering, could ZHANG understand Tian because he already knew what she was trying to express? Could Tian understand ZHANG because she had become familiar with his reactions? Or was it simply good teamwork? Maybe. The answer is much simpler than fans expected. Maybe they were just good partners in a game. Maybe they were comfortable because they had worked together. Maybe they were simply enjoying the moment. But then again, that's exactly why the moment became so fascinating. Because even when the explanation is simple, the feeling it creates can be complicated. And that brings us back to the question at the center of today's story. Why did ZHANG LINGHE and TIAN XIWEI seem to understand each other so quickly? Was it experience? Was it familiarity? Was it chemistry? Or was it simply two talented performers knowing exactly how to play to the camera? There is another detail fans couldn't ignore. Their interactions often carry a certain rhythm. One person reacts. The other responds. One person jokes. The other smiles. One makes a gesture. The other tries to understand. It doesn't always feel perfectly rehearsed. And perhaps that's what makes people curious. Because the most memorable celebrity moments are often the ones that appear spontaneous. But here is where we need to slow down. A spontaneous-looking moment does not automatically mean a secret relationship. A close interaction does not automatically mean romance. And a fandom theory does not automatically become news. The difference matters. Especially when talking about real people. So rather than saying that ZHANG LINGHE secretly chose TIAN XIWEI as his special person, it is more accurate to say this. During a public entertainment game, their interaction became a memorable moment for fans, and viewers interpreted their quick understanding and natural chemistry in many different ways. That is the fact. Everything beyond that belongs to interpretation. And perhaps that is what makes this story even more interesting. Because sometimes, the question is not whether a rumor is true. The question is why millions of people become so fascinated by one tiny moment. Why does one look make people replay a clip? Why does one gesture become a trending discussion? Why does a simple game suddenly feel like a scene from a drama? Maybe because ZHANG LINGHE and TIAN XIWEI have already created a powerful association in the minds of viewers. When fans see them together, they don't just see two actors. They remember their characters. They remember the story. They remember the emotional scenes. And when those same two people appear together outside the drama, the imagination naturally continues. That is the magic. And sometimes the danger of celebrity fandom. A moment can be beautiful without needing to become a confession. A connection can be entertaining without needing to become a relationship. And chemistry can exist on camera without proving what happens away from the cameras. Still, there is one thing that cannot be denied. The guessing game worked. It made people watch. It made people replay. It made people talk. And it made fans ask the same question again and again. Why do they understand each other so well? Maybe ZHANG LINGHE knew exactly what TIAN XIWEI was trying to communicate. Maybe TIAN XIWEI knew exactly how ZHANG would react. Maybe they were simply two co-stars who had developed strong teamwork. Or maybe fans simply saw a little bit of the chemistry they had been waiting to see again. And perhaps that is enough. Because at the end of the day, the most memorable moments don't always come with answers. Sometimes, they come with questions. And this one certainly does. Did ZHANG LINGHE really seem to have a special understanding with TIAN XIWEI during the guessing game? Or were fans simply seeing the natural result of two actors who already know how to work together? That is still the question. And now I want to hear from you. When you watched the moment, what did you notice first? Was it ZHANG LINGHE's reaction? TIAN XIWEI's expression? The way they communicated through the game? Or that subtle feeling that made the whole interaction seem different? Do you think their chemistry comes from their previous work together? Or do you think there is something about their personalities that simply makes them click naturally on screen? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And remember, you don't have to agree with every fan theory. Sometimes, it's enough to enjoy the moment and wonder what made it so unforgettable. Because maybe the biggest mystery isn't, did ZHANG LINGHE choose TIAN XIWEI? Maybe the real mystery is, why did this one simple guessing game make so many people stop, watch, and wonder? Until the next video. Take care. And I'll see you again soon.